Hello, and welcome back. Babe, what are we doing today?
We are finding our fire number.
Finding the fire number on the Zilinski life.
We're doing Coast Fire.
That's the one we're looking at right now, is the Coast Fire.
Yeah.
Basically what that is you save up and invest a lump sum of money that once you get to that point, you don't have to invest anymore, and the compound interest on that will take care of the remaining investment over time so that you can spend the next 20, 30 years, whatever, working at lower paying jobs, doing something you like, having more time, trusting that the compound interest will be at a point that it will fund your life once you retire at 50 or 55 or 60 or whenever you decide to do it.
And so the difference is that with traditional fire, you would just aggressively invest your money until you got to a point where you could completely retire. You could step away from work altogether and just live off of your dividends and interest that you had gotten off of your investing or your passive income. If you're investing in real estate and stuff like that, you would have multiple streams of income. The reason why we're choosing it to do this way is because if we wanted to retire early, Cody would still have to work in his industry, which is very physically and emotionally taxing.
I mean, I don't know how much longer I can continue doing that. And also, I don't know how much longer the industry is going to bear out having people working at it, because it's just been under attack for a while. The days of the mega projects are gone where a guy could have guaranteed work for an extended period of time, where you would get benefits, time off, so on and so forth. Now it's basically just, it's always been feast or famine, but you had a lot more than a week or two to make some money, and who knows how long it had to last. So that's kind of why we're looking at this.
And so if we were to do that, Freya's awake, so if you hear her, I'm sorry. If we were to do it that way, Cody would have to stay working for at least another 15 to 20 years. Whereas if we do Coast Fire, yes, he still has to work until he's the traditional retirement age of about 55.
But it's doing things that are easier on the body, maybe something I enjoy a little more. I can focus more on having like a work-life balance, doing things that are more interesting to me, more enjoyable.
We could start our own business. We could find different, side hustles to do. He could work part-time, like just 3 or 4 days a week, doing something he enjoys. Yeah.
Or even if it's something I don't enjoy, but it's less hours, that still kind of makes it more enjoyable than doing something you hate for all of the hours. So, that's kind of why we're looking at doing it this way.
So, current age, we're going to go off Cody's age. I'm 30, Cody's 32.
32 next month.
No, you turn 32 next month. Okay.
It's almost like we're not even married.
I know. Sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about. Traditional age, we'll say, is 55. I feel like most people in Canada retire
I think the
at
new
about
retirement
55.
age is like 67 or something.
That's in the States.
Oh.
I feel like 55 to 60 is pretty standard. And you get your CPP at 60.
I think 65 is still like the retirement age.
Okay, well, do you want to work till you're 55 or 60?
I don't want to work now.
No, well, that's not an option. So 55 or 60?
55.
Okay.
Shoot for 55.
I feel like we can do a safe withdrawal rate of 4%. Okay, so our annual expenses. I am so sorry for her. Our annual expenses right now are $5,200 a month. 5,200 times 12. So I wrote down a few numbers here. So our current costs every month, as we are with our debts, is $5,200. Once we are out of debt, we're looking at about $3,600 a month. And then if we were to build or buy a tiny house or go back into a trailer or build a shed or something and just mortgage or rent land to live on, then we're looking at about $2,500 a month. So obviously the lower our number, the easier this would be.
Yeah.
So our Coast Fire, at our current level of income, we would need to have $500,000 in the bank. I'm going to put this to, do you want to go off of just debt-free with our current expenses, or if we were to downsize into a tiny house?
Let's do debt-free with our current expenses, because, if we shoot for that and it ends up being less, great. But if we shoot for less and end up needing more, we're kind of hooped.
All right, so you'll see down here I'm putting in $3,600 a month over 12 months, so we need $351,000. So if I go into our...
still a hefty chunk of change.
Yeah, so if I put in... So right now we only have like $2,000 in investments. We literally have nothing put away for retirement.
Yeah, have not been diligent with this.
So our annual income after taxes, I'll leave it at about $80,000 Cody typically makes around take home about 80 to 90,000.
Yeah.
80,000.
Somewhere close to 100-ish when things are going good. But things are not going good between COVID and the political situation and the economic situation, and it's just a mess. So
yeah. So here, this is fine. I don't mind doing it with our debt-free numbers because we're going to be out of debt in 2 years. Anyways, so maybe we should change
my age from 32 to 34.
Yeah, 34, because technically that's when we would start this, and it does make a little bit of a difference here. So our timeline calculator then says it would be 8 years to coast FI or 18 years to full fire. And that's living as we are. If we were to really downsize our lifestyle,
which we would ideally like to do at some point,
and we'll say it was the $2,500 a month times 12, then that changes that number to less than 5 years.
Yeah.
It would take.
The unfortunate thing is that it takes a lot of money to be broke. Because, we could drastically downgrade our monthly living expenses now, except that we don't have the giant upfront chunk of cash that would require that, or that would be required for that. So
yeah.
It is what it is.
So what this is saying is that if we reach $387,000 into our investment accounts, we could stop contributing to it at that point, and it would grow on its own enough that at the age of 55, we could continue to live that lifestyle without ever having to have added anything else to it, which to me is a pretty comfortable number, because we do plan to either build a shed house or buy a tiny home or go back into a trailer. And that buys us a lot more options, because then our living expenses go down.
Yes.
By
a significant amount.
By $1,000 plus a month. So that is our coast FI number. I'll be honest, I'm not happy with 8 years either.
Yeah, that's not wicked awesome. We're going to have to look at something else to either lower our lifestyle or upgrade our income, but that's why you look at things like this. Find out where you're at so you can see what changes you need to make.
They have an option here for annual passive income too, right? Like if we were to make an extra $1,000 a month, so $12,000 a year, that would bring us down to 5 years.
Yeah.
And if we could find a way to make $2,000 a month in passive income, that brings us down to 2.6 years. So like a lot of things could change, but right now we don't have any. There's a lot of
variables.
Yeah, we don't have any kind of passive income, so that kind of just stays where it is at the 8 years. So we want to try, and my goal would be 5 years. I would be happy if I think 5 years
would be doable.
There's of course other things that we could factor in as well. If I were to go back to work,
and our monthly income would go up a bit, and
yeah, because so 80,000, and then after taxes, we'll say 40,000, but then you have to take daycare out of it, so I could maybe contribute like another
25.
Yeah, 25. So we'll say 105,000 a year. So that puts us down to 5 years if I were to go back to work.
Which isn't insurmountable.
Yeah, which isn't. And we actually had that conversation last night. It is part of our core values. It's very important for us to have one of us home full time.
Yeah.
Raising our kid or kids if we decide to have more.
Because there's crazy things going on in the world, and kids are so ridiculously impressionable. I want to make sure that the values and beliefs and behaviors that are imprinted on my kid are in line with what I think is right, and you can't count on someone else to do that.
But again, if we had to make a short-term sacrifice, that's something we might consider as well. So our takeaway from this, I'm just going to take the coast FI number, and we'll just round it up to be safe, and we'll say $400,000 is what we're going to shoot for. We want to have $400,000 in our investments.
Yeah. Before
we really start to buy options, and Cody can look into doing different kind of work and that sort of thing. And realistically, a full fire number of just over $1 million is not that bad.
Yeah, that's not terrible.
I feel like had we started this 10 years ago, this would be way more achievable.
Yeah, had we started this 10 years ago right now, we'd probably be having that conversation of we retired early, so can you.
If we started this when we were 20, we could have been retired before we were 40.
Yeah.
Just
before we were 30, if we were willing to slum it enough in our 20s.
Yeah, exactly. Before kids and everything.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that is our fire number.
Yeah.
$400,000. So wish us luck on this journey.
Yeah.
We're actually quite excited. We've had a lot of really good wholesome conversations in this household about where our priorities are, what our core values are, where we see ourselves going in 10 years.
Yeah, like we both struggle with depression on and off at times. And I think for me, usually mine comes in when I'm not in line with my values, not sure where I'm going. And it's like Val and I had a conversation just last night of like, we have a vague notion of the life we want in the future, zero idea of how to get there.
Yeah.
So this is kind of one of the beginning steps that we need to look into to make that happen, because unfortunately where we are right now, we're pretty well stuck here. We don't have the options to make any big drastic changes.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunately looking like it's one of those situations where the fastest way to make a change is the slow way. So this is that. So I think that's it.
Yeah. So thank you guys for watching.
Thanks for watching. If you like it, like it. If you don't like it, dislike it twice. If you haven't already, subscribed to see where we go from here. Ring that little bell so you get some notifications. And we will catch you on the next one. Bye.